Melody's problem is she really needs to stop trying to turn everybody against me. Destin has been my friend way longer than she's been Melody's friend. And I'm not sure if they even have a real relationship. So my thing is, Melody needs to figure things out. We're divorced, and she needs to just move on with her life and stop trying to ruin mine.
They always say that karma may take her time, but she never forgets an address. She may be quiet for a while, she may sit back and watch, but when she arrives heavy. And in this story, she didn't just knock on the door, she kicked it open. Because just when people thought the situation between Martell Holt and his longtime girlfriend was settling into some kind of normal, just when some were starting to believe that life had finally calmed down for them, karma stepped right in. And the hit was not soft. It was loud, public, humbling, and it changed everything. At 39 years old, Martell's girlfriend thought she had weathered all the storms. She had survived the criticism, the whispers, the headlines. She believed that nothing could embarrass her at this point. She had been judged for years, dragged online, blamed for ruining a marriage, mocked for believing in a man who couldn't stay committed to anyone, not even himself. She thought she had heard it all, felt it all, endured it all, but the universe had one more lesson waiting. And this one hurt in a completely different way. To understand how the situation spiraled like this, we have to rewind. Before the TV cameras, before the podcasts, before the interviews, before the comments turned into memes and the memes turned into full-blown storylines across the internet. Because none of this started overnight. This was years in the making. There was a time when she didn't see herself as the villain, a time when she didn't see herself as the scandal, a time when she believed she was in a love story. That's how it always begins, doesn't it? Quiet, personal, soft. She was young, confident, well-liked, fun. She was used to being admired. She enjoyed attention, but she wasn't desperate for it. And when Martell came into her life, he didn't approach her like some random man. He came with charm, presence, a voice that could make anything sound smooth.
Did you get everything in the divorce? I gave you a Melody there.
What, the cheese cutter?
Yeah.
You my girl, so it's definitely coming with me. Like, what? Actually, she said, you take this. This is from your friends.
Nah, you lying.
Oh, she said that. She said, you take this. This is from your friends.
Wow.
He knew how to talk. He knew how to smile. He knew exactly what to say to make someone feel special, and she liked that. He didn't tell her everything, but he told her just enough. You know how that goes. He talked about feeling misunderstood. He talked about not being appreciated. He talked about wanting peace. He talked about being tired of pretending. He talked about needing someone who made him feel alive again. And at first glance, it sounded believable. She saw him as a man trying to find happiness, not a married man trying to maintain two different lives, not a father who was about to cause emotional fallout at a scale that nobody was prepared for. She didn't know the whole picture, or maybe she didn't want to see the whole picture. Sometimes the heart sees what it wants, not what's real.
Real interesting because she said you're friends with my ops, Martell and Tisha, and you and Martell talk on the phone every day. I said, good and damn well I don't talk to Martell every day.
Right.
She was like, well, I just feel like you should have cut him off. I said, so should I ask all the friends that I have that are mutual?
See, she is something else she's trying to turn everybody against me. Like if y'all want to listen
But that's so high school. I mean, because I can't ask you to not be friends with people from my situation.
It's not even right, though. I've been knowing that for how many years?
It don't make sense. And don't talk to anybody that I ever dealt with. It's impossible, and it's unfair to ask.
Things got serious quickly. Feelings deepened. The bond felt unbreakable. And soon, what was supposed to stay private became louder and louder until the entire world could see it. Because the truth did not stay hidden. Truth never does. When the public found out, the narrative was brutal. She wasn't just the other woman. She was labeled the homewrecker, the destroyer, the one who smiled while someone else cried. the woman who played a role in another woman's heartbreak. And whether those labels were fair or not, once the internet decides something, it spreads like wildfire. Suddenly, her name was everywhere. Think pieces, blog posts, tweets, live streams, podcasts, clips from the show. Fans gathering in group chats just to discuss her. They analyzed her decisions like a storyline written for television. They joked about her future. They dragged her for staying. They dragged her for leaving. They dragged her for having hope. They dragged her for loving a man that many believed couldn't love anyone fully, not even himself. And Martell, he didn't make this easier. He had moments where he acted like he was committed to her, then moments where he gave interviews that made her look disposable.
I decided to pop in on my longtime friend Martell because he knows Melody best. So navigating this crazy time that we're in, maybe he can give me some positive insight.
Moments where he appeared to be defending her, then moments where he denied her significance, like she was just a rumor. It was a roller coaster set on fire. And the worst part is, she wrote it willingly. She believed that one day he would choose her openly. She believed that eventually the world would see that she wasn't a mistake. She believed that love would win. But here's the twist. Love can't win if only one person is fighting for it. And loyalty means nothing if it's never returned. Time continued.
She ran like she always does instead of really facing.
Also, hold on. So she stormed off.
And I said, run like you always do.
Well, she don't hear something like she gone.
And you know of all people how I rode for her, even telling you how wrong you.
Seasons changed. She had a child. She built a life around him. She stayed, even when staying made her look foolish to people she didn't even know. She held on to promises that were spoken in private, but never fulfilled in public. And while she was waiting for love to prove itself, he was still moving however he wanted to move. Other women, public flirtations, reality show drama, interviews, comments, DMs, a never-ending cycle of disrespect and half-truths wrapped in charm. Every time she tried to walk away, he pulled her back in. Every time she tried to set boundaries, he crossed them. Every time she tried to choose herself, he reminded her of how deeply she was tied to him. But life has a way of forcing reality onto us, no matter how long we try to ignore it. Because eventually, she turned 39. And something about approaching 40 makes everything look different. Suddenly, time mattered. Suddenly, years didn't feel endless anymore. Suddenly, she could feel the weight of everything she had given, everything she had lost, everything she had tolerated. And that's when karma showed up. Not in the form of revenge, not in the form of public humiliation, but in the form of truth. The truth that he was never going to give her the life she imagined. The truth that she had been waiting for, something that was never real. The truth that she had built her future around a man who didn't know how to build with her. And the truth came with consequences, because Martell had moved on to other storylines, new relationships, new public attachments, women who treated him like a prize. Women who thought they would be different. Meanwhile, the woman who believed she knew him best found herself alone in the one place she never imagined ending up, the end of the story she fought so hard to keep alive. She realized that she had been arguing with strangers online to defend someone who wasn't defending her. She realized she had been losing sleep over someone who slept just fine. She realized she had been sacrificing her peace while he enjoyed his. And when that realization hit, it hit like a storm. She didn't cry publicly. She didn't break down online. She didn't make a dramatic announcement. She just went quiet. And that silence said more than any interview ever could, because silence is the moment where the heart finally speaks the truth. The emotional toll was heavy. She felt embarrassed, not because of what people said, but because of what she allowed. She questioned her judgment, her value, her worth. She asked herself how she ended up here, how she became the storyline, the cautionary tale. And the hardest part was knowing that she did love him deeply, honestly, fully, more than he ever knew how to receive. She loved him in a way that assumed love would return. But love without reciprocity is just a slow form of self-destruction. Some nights, she stayed awake thinking about the life she imagined. Holidays together, family photos, growing old side by side, dreams of a man who never truly existed. And that is the pain nobody talks about. Grieving a fantasy hurts more than grieving a breakup, because the fantasy is the part that keeps you from letting go. But what nobody expected was the shift. As the world got louder about Martell's failures, as more women began sharing their experiences, as more patterns came to light, something clicked, not just for her, but for everyone watching. They saw that this wasn't a love story at all. This was a story about lessons. Lessons about ignoring red flags. Lessons about wishing potential into reality. Lessons about believing promises that were never backed by action. Lessons about the cost of loving someone who hasn't healed. She faced the truth at 39, not too late, but right on time, because that is when the rebirth begins. She began rebuilding, privately, quietly, without trying to explain herself anymore. People expected chaos. They expected drama. They expected more fighting, more interviews, more messy responses. She chose peace. Not the peace that comes from winning a battle, but the peace that comes from no longer needing to fight. And that is where karma delivered the final hit, not to her, but to him. Because once she stopped needing his attention, he lost control. Once she stopped chasing him, he lost the power. Once she stopped defending him, he had to face his choices alone. The world no longer saw him as charming. They saw him as the common denominator. The scandal wasn't hers anymore. It was his. The backlash wasn't hers anymore. It was his. The reputation damage, the narrative shifted. And nothing bothers a man more than realizing that the person he thought would always be there finally walked away. She didn't get revenge. She didn't need it. Her healing was the revenge. Her growth was the payback. Her peace was the final chapter. At 39, she learned something powerful. You don't lose when someone walks away from your life. You lose when you stay somewhere your spirit has outgrown. She didn't lose. She awakened. And once you awaken, you can never go back to who you were before. So yes, karma arrived, but she didn't come to destroy her. She came to free her. And the one who has to live with the consequences now is him.